So yeah, thanks everybody for obviously coming along. And this is a bit of an idea I had walking along the beach down at Murray's Bay a couple of weeks ago. I said to the wife, this would be quite a good idea, an opportunity for us to actually bring our clients together, because everybody's sort of interlinked in some way. So it was a bit of an idea, but I think it's awesome to finally get this off the ground. So yeah, I guess the concept for me going forward is to do these more regularly, at least every probably 2 weeks, maybe 4, I don't know. But I think, it's about, not just learning from each other, but sharing sort of the pain points, and the things that sort of we're facing as either business leaders or managers of, businesses and whatnot. So yeah, intro quickly to Zac. So Zac actually, I've known since the very beginning of '84. So Zac, his background was for his crimes. I think he started out in Deloitte as a fairly junior accounting something or other. Then was the youngest CFO for Flight Centre, which you'd be glad you're not there anymore, I suppose, at this point in time.
Yeah, very glad, yeah, thankfully.
Very glad.
Yep.
And then went on to be the managing director for Barker's, who obviously you know well. But since then started his business coaching company, which is Business Changing, and New Zealand's best coach, recognised by a lot of people. So done very well in that space.
As I say, I think 2021 will be challenging. Certainly, you guys listening might be in some industries which actually are positively affected. So that's good if that's your case. But I think regardless of your industry, if you're the best of the best in your industry, if you are the best at a business, you can still completely and utterly blossom, as simple as that. But as I say, as a tip, what new rituals do you actually need to keep your culture alive if people aren't in person as much? So, I mean, if I was asked, what would I recommend you guys focus on for the next, say, 30 days? I suppose the first thing I'd do is I'd actually self-critique how you've gone as a leader over the past 30 days, and I get some learning. So kind of have a think, have I done brilliant, good, average, etc. Get some learnings and take those learnings forward. I definitely keep on communicating to your team heaps, and I mean way more than in the olden days. I'd really make sure that your team are very aware of their priorities, with that 90-day plan, that sort of thing. And I'd also look at how can you protect your time. So what else can you personally delegate? Because again, your time is where the money is. So make sure you're not getting too bogged down. Obviously, continually update your cash flow forecast. That's really key. I'd talk a lot to my A and B customers. And I'd proactively look for ways that I could actually add value to them to either reduce their stress or actually be of more service and value. That would be really valuable. I'd totally do everything I can to protect my pipeline. And I just mean that sales ability is going to be key. So make sure your sales team is really good and not letting opportunities go out the door. I'd definitely consider not just about the cash flow forecasting, but go through those trigger points. If we're down this, what should we do? If we're down this, what should we do? And the other thing, which I reckon could be really powerful, is have a brainstorm with other people in your business, as well as what's the list of the hard questions that you ultimately need to answer in your business, because this would be cool. The best thing, the most successful businesses, they actually ask the right questions. So make sure you're asking the right questions. Ultimately, if you want to do well in the future, you need to be the best of the best. So I'd say if you can be the best in your market, even if the market declines, you will take more market share and you can still grow. So just focus on being the best, being world class. That's sort of a summary of what I'd be doing.
But one thing that I've noticed, and I'm sure probably all of us have, is that it's been a good little period for extending your learning. And as your team's extending their learning, there's been a bit more time for that. There's been plenty of resource floating around to get your hands on, and things like this have popped up. Have you got any ideas from people you've been working with about how we can hang on to that learning culture, how we can kind of keep that going? Because it's been a hell of a positive thing, I think, to come out of this time.
Yeah, it's been amazing, as you say. I mean, the fact that people have the time, and that's, I guess, part of it is, by not having to commute an hour a day and having 5 more hours a week, that's arguably, more time for doing that. I reckon we almost need to be like 3M and actually mandate and say, hey, in your 40-hour week, thou shalt do 2 hours of your work time where you can do whatever you want. It's just got to be self-development and work development related, and actually hold your team accountable on what are they doing with their 2 hours a week. And when you have your one-on-one with them, get them to share with you what have they actually learnt.
But just any thoughts around how we make sure we're positioned to take advantage of opportunities that come along, making sure that when the right opportunity comes along that we can grab it.
I think in a practical way, just put time into your calendar and hold yourself accountable to actually put time into pondering opportunities and trying to find them. And then secondly, have a process that helps you to choose the right one, because you actually can't do them all. And in today's times, you probably can do even fewer opportunities because there's less time or less money or whatever. So just pick the right ones.
You might make a decision, right, we're going to get rid of company cars or something like that. How do you sort of think, working through things like that, balancing against not damaging your company culture too much?
So I just think by being transparent, it would hopefully, might help some of those harder decisions be easier to explain to staff. And I think, if you have got the A team who are engaged, those people, they obviously like their job, they like your vision, they want to work for you, they will highly likely stay around. I think, people are going to have to take the good and the bad, but all I'd say is, you could take away company cars, but there's still plenty of things you could actually do to make the culture better. It might be, but you're actually allowed to work from home 2 days a week. Different incentives work different ways. So what I'm trying to say is be transparent, and hopefully if your people are engaged, they'll understand your reason why.
This is the one time that the shoe's on the other foot. And so it's up to us to make those bold decisions now that is good for business. And so as long as there's context around it, which is there's our cash runway or there's the state of the business, that's why we've made that decision. Thank you very much again, Zac. Thanks, guys, for attending, and keep smiling.